The axe from the University of South Alabama was by far and away the biggest monstrous axe I've ever seen in my whole life. That thing was huge, coming in at something like 15 pounds. That weight behind it made short work of the rope, that's for sure, but on the edge holding up on the sheet, it did take some dulling. Maybe that edge wasn't as hard as I would have liked to have seen, but I mean, it's a bruiser, man. Nothing's gonna stand in the way of that thing.
Interesting combination, aluminum body and steel faces.
Yeah.
And so it's got to be a super high strength aluminum. It looks big, looks far less wieldy than it is.
Yeah.
And it performs.
Because this is so light, we could swing it without too much, without the difficulty it appears to have. We did have one issue with this face, though. It's peeling away from the aluminum here. I don't know how it was affixed. It hasn't peeled away enough that I could see if there's a tongue in there or anything else to hold this on. But as it stands, a couple more hits and this is going to pop. But it is certainly, it's fun because it looks so huge on camera, and when we're all swinging it, we look like monsters. But it's not got a terrible weight, so it's an interesting choice to do it this way, and I think it was a fun thing to swing.
This bar comes to us from the University of North Texas, the well-tempered Texans. First things that come out when you pick up a bar like this is its mass. It's got a lot of weight to it, and you can get, the real Halligan bars and a lot of other bars have less weight, but not a whole lot less weight. One thing that was pointed out by Andrew the firefighter is that the bevel on this is on the wrong side. So when you try to use this as a pry bar, the adze hits the door before you get the full extent of the bevels. We would have liked to have seen more square corners for impact. You can see where we had to hit was way out here and way back here, and that's just not in line with the forces you want to have. So you lose effort as you're using it, at which, for someone running into or out of a burning building, the least amount of effort is the right amount of effort. If that could have had square corners, I think that would have been a lot more useful. The alloy or heat treat, it took some damage on the edge here of the adze. There's some deformation, but no chipping. And the point, some cold shots here, it held up great. I've seen firefighters use this pick to burst tires on a car so it doesn't roll when they go to pry open the door. Something this big might make that a little bit more difficult than it needs to be. That being said, I mean, this thing is a beast, and it held up great, and it did the job. Well done.
I'm in from Pittsburg State University. It is interesting. There's a lot going on here. I really love the detail of this guard. I mean, it's kind of reminiscent of a sai or something like that. It's not something that we as knife makers would think to make because it's easier to cast this kind of shape. But it's really interesting. I like all of the detail that's in here. The handle is big, a lot of room back here that could be gone, and I think I like the feel of the handle back here more than I do up here. It's a little bit bigger up here than it needs to be. It's nice. I like the wooden scales and the brass pins. That's really cool looking. I mean, that's cool. They got a cast fist on the back, so you could just tell the officer that you were in a fist fight. It wasn't a knife fight. I like that idea. The blade is interesting. I don't see a lot of blades that look like this. I've seen a couple. I'm never a huge fan of this sort of area here. It tends to get cut up on things. But it's a cool design, and it really shows the difference of the things you make when you're casting versus forging. This blade came in from Lords of the Sword. It's big in every dimension, but it's so thin, and there's such a large fuller in here that it's light for something this size. It's really an amazing job. In the testing, this thin edge took some deformation, but this is almost a chef's knife. And so to take that little amount of damage, hitting into steel conduit is really laudable. Your handle is visually stunning. I like all about it. This is just really big. It doesn't need to be this thick. I think this dimension isn't too bad, but it's just got about an extra ½ inch on this thickness in this dimension. Spear comes in from Trine Team Thunderstorm. This is an interesting looking spear. I like all the details that went into this, how the socket is cut open. The barbs on this look wicked. The only big issue with this is it's really, really thick. I think for a spear this size, it should be about
half, a quarter of this weight, and I think you would still end up with a functioning spear. It took the tiniest little bit of flattening at the tip. It rolled over just a little bit, but the edges look great, and the overall finish is really good. This is an interesting looking Halligan bar. I haven't seen one before with a brick bat on it. In general, the weight of your bar is good. The adze looks great. I love the proportion of the adze, but it did take a little bit of damage in some of the testing right here at the edge. The forks are kind of beefy for what they need to be. They're sort of really thick in this dimension and not super wide in this dimension. I think that mass could have been reapportioned, but in general, you got a cool looking bar here, and it did some amazing stuff, so congratulations.